Okay, so welcome to tonight's webinar. As you can see there, can anyone hear me okay? Sorry, I've just got a message coming up just saying that the webinar is not, the audio is not working okay. Yeah, fine, good, thank you. Perhaps that's an error message. Sorry, right. So tonight's webinar, as you can see there, is Grow Yourself to Grow Your Business. This is the 6th in a series of 8 webinars that I run. And you can see there that the first 2 or 3, numbers 1, 2 and 3, are mainly about the retail side of the business, the catalogue side, building up your customers and so on. Number 4 and 5, which I was doing last week and the week before, are more about team building. And then this one and the next couple are more to do with, if you like, personal development. Those skills, other than doing the retail, doing some team building, that will prove invaluable in growing your business. So hopefully you'll find them useful. All of these webinars are recorded, and I'll explain at the end where they're all held. So if you want to go back over one of the others, maybe if you've just started like Martin and you want to go over the ones to do with getting started, then I'll show you where the recordings are, and you can go back over one of the earlier ones if that's more relevant to you where you are in your business now. So, what we're going to talk about, assuming that you've been in the business a little while, and I know certainly a couple of you are fairly new, but once you know how to put your catalogues out and you know how to kind of look after your customers and build a customer base, and if you've done a little bit of team building and you've learned how to find somebody who might be interested in earning a bit of extra money and how to bring somebody into your team, then what other skills do you need to grow a successful business? And that's kind of what we're going to cover, really. So, excuse me. I'm going to talk a little bit about our system. There's a system that within our group that we use, and the whole point of having a system is so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you start a business from scratch, typically you're having to kind of work everything out on your own again. How do we do this? How do we do that? How will I do this, that, and the other? But with Kleeneze, it's more like a little mini franchise. There are ways to do things that have been tried and tested, and you don't have to reinvent them. You can just learn from your sponsor and work out how to do the best. Follow all the best practices, if you like. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about where to find some essential understanding. And this is understanding not specifically about Kleeneze, because that's kind of what you'll get from your sponsor and from training, from webinars like this, but a few kind of broader areas that will hopefully make a bit more sense in a moment. And what I'm going to recommend you do is get started on some personal development, and I'll explain a bit more about what I mean by that a bit later. There's some recommended reading, and if like me, I mean, I kind of struggle with reading sometimes, so I'm much better listening to CDs in the car. And these days, pretty much every book that you can buy in a bookshop, you can also either download as an audio CD, buy as an audio CD, or download as a kind of an MP3, so you can kind of listen to it as you kind of driving along, say, for example, if that's better for you. Right, when you were at school, now I don't know about the rest of you, but for me that was a long time ago, but I do remember being told off if you ever tried to copy. You were supposed to kind of use your own initiative, do everything from scratch, as it were. So at school, copying's cheating. But at Kleeneze, it's the route to success. As I've said there, there are people in this business making an awful lot of money, and hopefully you kind of joined the business to do something similar. Maybe you don't have the drive, if you like, to work really hard for as long as everybody has. But if you're looking to get yourself to kind of, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 pounds a week or something like that, then you can learn from people who have done all of this before. You don't have to kind of invent it yourself. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, as it were. So we talk about this system that you can copy. What is that? Where do you find out about this wonderful system? Well, as a starting point, you've been learning it on these webinars. Now, if this is your first one, then you might want to hang around for some of the other ones. But basically, the way we talk about how you put your catalogues out, how you introduce people to the business, different ways of finding team members, that is the system that we all follow. And as I said a bit earlier, Kleeneze has been in its current form. I mean, Kleeneze has been around since 1923, but in its current form, in terms of kind of independent distributors delivering catalogues to houses near where they live, apart from some of the the online side and the ordering systems, the basics of Kleeneze has been the same for the last 20 years. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. However, that doesn't mean that you need to kind of dogmatically follow everything that you're told. There is always room for improvement. Oh, excuse me, tickly cough. You might be particularly good at advertising on Facebook or something like that. There's some great ways coming out to kind of sell products on Facebook. You can find team members on Facebook, and obviously Facebook wasn't around 20 years ago. So if you like, the basics of the system is still the same, but there's always new kind of technologies, new ways of running the system, if you like, to take advantage of new ideas. What I recommend that you do then, especially if you're new in the business, is you find somebody who is successful and copy them. Now, who might that be? So that could be your sponsor, but not necessarily. Your sponsor could be quite new themselves. Everybody who's a Kleeneze distributor can start sponsoring from the day they join. So if your sponsor has only been in the business a week or two, and you then join after them, then maybe their sponsor is somebody who is successful, and you can copy what they do. So the whole nature of a Kleeneze business is that your sponsor was sponsored by somebody who'd been in the business a bit longer. They were sponsored by somebody who'd been in the business even longer, and so on. So you will have what we call an upline of successful people, and you can learn from all of them. And you can meet you can meet them at local meetings or webinars like this. You might come across them, or regional millionaires colleges, or at the big conferences around Birmingham and so on. Find those successful people and learn from them. And I guarantee you they will all be happy to talk to you, because obviously, because we're a network marketing business, they will earn money if you are successful. So they want you to be as successful as them, if not more successful. So please don't feel, oh, I better not go and have a chat with him. He's probably he's probably really busy. They really do want to talk to you. Okay, I mentioned a little bit about some essential understanding. There's a bit of reading that I'm going to recommend now. And I'm not saying go out and read these all now before you do anything else. Obviously, you still need to put your catalogues out. You need to do your leafleting and sponsoring activities. But alongside that, maybe in the evenings or while you're driving somewhere or somewhere like that, you should be looking at improving your knowledge, if you like. So, a couple of good things to get started on. A lot of people join Kleeneze just to earn a bit of extra money delivering catalogues. They don't realise at the time that Kleeneze is a network marketing business, or sometimes called multi-level marketing. And basically what that means is, if you introduce somebody to the business, you will earn commission on their orders as well as your own. Now, that structure provides massive opportunities for you to earn a lot of money. But it's really useful to understand how that bit works, because really the delivering catalogues is just, if you like, a vehicle to earn a bit of money. The structure of the business is where you can earn a lot of money. So a couple of books that I'm going to recommend to you to get you started, and they're very, very simple, very easy to read, quite short. So the first one is called The 45-Second Presentation by Don Failer. And the second one, and this is actually, I'm not even sure if there's a book. I've only ever seen it as an audio CD. It's by a chap called Jim Rohn, who's probably my favourite author and speaker on the subject. This is a really, really easy to listen to CD. It's probably 45 minutes, an hour at the most. I reckon I've had it about 5.5 years, and I've probably listened to it, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a month, every single month in that time. Every time you listen to it, you get something else out of it. So If you don't read anything else, read that book and listen to that CD. Now, what else do you need to understand? Within the Kleeneze business, it's useful to understand the pay plan. What I mean by the pay plan is, how can you earn money? You earn your 21% commission from your own sales, but then you also need to understand about volume bonuses and how bonuses are paid based on the orders that you've placed and any team members have placed in a period, and that those bonuses get bigger, 10%, 13%, 15%, and so on. And that once you get up to 24%, you get to gold level. And there's all sorts of different kind of levels as you can go up. There's probably, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 levels you can get to. You really don't need to understand the kind of the tiny details of every single level in the business. But it's always useful to know a couple of steps ahead of where you're going. And what do you need to do to get your first 10% bonus? Once you've got that, what do you need to do to get 13% and 15%? And once you know what you need to do, you can then put together a plan for how to achieve them, how to get there. And it's really worth knowing them. Even if you decide, actually I'm quite happy doing my £50 or £100 a week, if you know that you can actually increase that to £75 a week just by doing an extra, I don't know, £50 worth of orders over a month, you might think, oh well, that's actually worth doing because it's probably only another 5 or 10 catalogues a week. So just understanding how it works, where you are at the moment in the pay plan, and what you would need to do to get to the next level is really kind of useful just to help you plan what you're going to do. And it is very, very important to understand that growing and building your business is a numbers game. It's very simple just to kind of say, okay, how can I earn a bit more money? And there's typically two different ways of doing it. Either put more catalogues out. By putting more catalogues out, you will get in front of more people. Therefore, you will get more customers, and more customers means more income. So if you're putting 100 catalogues a week out and you want to earn a bit more money, put 150 out, or 200, or 250. It's there's kind of little things that you can try to do to get more out of individual customers, to give them special offers and things like that. But a very simple way is simply to put more catalogues out. And it's the same when you get round to doing your team building. If you can do more activities, deliver more leaflets, put more shop cards up or whatever to generate more leads will result in more team members, and more team members will result in more income from you. So understanding the numbers just really allows you to kind of realize, in a way, I mean, Jim Rohn has a great thing that he says in that CD I mentioned earlier. When you first start off, you can make up in numbers what you lack in skills. And I mean, in terms of the skills, what skills do you need to put catalogues out? Well, not a lot really. But team building, there are some skills that you can use. You can learn how to talk to people a bit better. You can learn how to sort of introduce them to the business a bit better, and so on. When you first start off, you might not be very comfortable doing all of that. You might sort of think, oh God, I don't really know what to say. But you can still bring people into the business simply by generating more leads and speaking to more people. So understanding those kind of numbers will really kind of help you to decide how you want to go forward and grow that business. I heard somebody say something at a training webinar I went to a long time, not a webinar, like a seminar a long time ago, and it's kind of stuck with me ever since because it's actually so true. And what she said was, if you only do what you know you should do, you can achieve anything. And that's so true, because basically, if you take Kleeneze as an example, once you've done your basic training about putting your catalogues out and collecting them back up again and placing orders, you know that if you do 200 a week, or 400 a week, or 200 a day, or however many you want, if you can do as many as you want to do, if you want to, and you know what you should do, to achieve what you want to do. And it's the same with team building. A lot of people don't do as much team building as they feel they want to, but they know what to do, they just don't do it. So and a lot of the reasons behind why they don't do it can be resolved with some personal development. This is a great phrase that I heard from Jim Rohn in that CD. He said, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." If you imagine, if you've got a traditional job, you might be working 9 to 5, earning, making your boss rich, presumably, and working really, really hard. And other than maybe a little bit of training you might get on the job so that you know what to do, you're not really improving yourself as a person. You're kind of just, doing what you need to do to make the boss some money. But if you work on yourself, if you learn some more skills, and you can spend, and if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, so you learn more skills and you become smarter and cleverer and get some, if you like, more valuable skills, then you can earn a lot more by improving yourself than you can just by working harder on your job. So what's all this kind of talking about, really? I've kind of been waffling a little bit. Basically what I'm saying is become a sponge for information. Keep learning and plug into a kind of personal development program. You will get the most valuable skills that you will learn from Kleeneze by doing some personal development. And that's just reading some good books. I'm going to make some recommendations in a moment over and above the first two I mentioned. Watching webinars. There's so much information available on YouTube that's absolutely free, and you can learn new things every day just watching something useful on YouTube. I don't mean kind of cats playing the piano, but if you want to learn about how to generate leads on the internet or something like that. And listening, I talked a bit earlier about audio CDs. I use audio CDs all the time. And in webinar 8, so this is number 6, in number 8 I'm going to talk a lot more about the different skills and kind of different things that you can learn that will really help you kind of grow as a person and become sort of, you will then have the skills to earn as much as you want to in Kleeneze or any other business if you really focus on your own personal development. And a great thing, a big recommendation I have for everybody in my team and anybody, whichever team you're in, try to get to as many meetings as you can. I can be saying to you, if you're joining all these webinars, I can sort of say different things to you about do this, do that, this is a great way to do this, this is a great way to do that. And you might hear some of the stuff that I'm saying and put some of it into practice. If you go to one of your local opportunity meetings or one of the regional millionaires meetings or the conferences, you might hear somebody else say a similar thing in a slightly different way, and suddenly it'll click and you sort of think, oh wow, yeah, that kind of makes so much sense. And that might just take you on to the next level. It might just suddenly kind of clear some blockage that you've been worrying about, or you're a bit nervous about doing this or whatever. So I call that a kind of golden nugget, some kind of aha moment that that kind of enables you to move your business forward. And the more meetings you go to, the more of those kind of golden nuggets you'll come across. So I mentioned earlier sort of books and CDs to listen to. So there's a list here. I'm not going to go through them all. As I said, because this is recorded, if you want to, you can kind of watch the recording, come back to this, and then make a list of any others that you want to go through. But the ones that I've highlighted in blue there are my particular favourites from this list, and I'm just going to go through them in a moment. Just kind of tell you a little bit about each one, and then you can kind of decide for yourself if you want to go ahead and start taking advantage of some of that. So this CD here that you can see the picture of there is the one that I've talked about earlier, Building Your Network Marketing Business, by an American chap called Jim Rohn. I just think he's such an easy person to listen to. He kind of reminds me of like a favourite grandfather or something. He's just got a lovely voice. He's American, so you have to be able to kind of, happy to listen to American accent. Some people it kind of grinds a little bit, but as I say, he's got such a lot of really useful stuff to say. This particular CD is, I suppose I'll describe it as philosophies on network marketing. So it's nothing to do with Kleeneze, but it is a lot about numbers and how to think about, when you bring people into the business, I guarantee you that some of them will not stay in your business. For whatever reason, they'll join, it wasn't quite right for them, and they leave. And if you worry about that and sort of think, oh crikey, why did he leave? What can I do? maybe I'll have to do something different better. Maybe I'll drive around his house and see if I can convince him to stay. You can start kind of worrying about all these things. And Jim's just got a great way of kind of explaining how that kind of works in network marketing. So another book on the subject of Jim Rohn, another book that I really like, and this is a book rather than a CD, is called 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness. Quite a small book, I would say probably 100, 150 pages, easy to read, and again, it's all about setting goals for yourself, investing, and that's kind of your time and your money. And it's not, we're not talking about stocks and shares and things like that. It's kind of, what are you doing? Are you investing money in yourself, in your training? And it talks a lot about kind of life philosophies. That sounds a bit, if you if you're like me, someone starts talking about life philosophies, I'm thinking, what on earth is he going on about? That doesn't mean anything to me. I will expand on that in, I think it's webinar 7 or 8. But just bear with me a moment, and hopefully it'll kind of make a bit more sense. And if you're keen and you want to have a look at what I'm talking about with life philosophies, then you feel free to watch the recordings of 7 and 8, because obviously I did them a few weeks ago as well. Okay, a couple of other great books, and these two are very similar in what they say, so either of those I think work really well. There's one called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and one called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And basically what they say is people are successful, or they're failures, not because they made a huge successful decision or a massively bad decision. It's the little decisions that they make every day. If you look at this little graph at the bottom here, starting over on the left hand side, if you imagine maybe you're trying to lose weight, for example. Now, you could go and go out one day and run a marathon and not eat anything, and at the end of the day think oh yeah, have I lost any weight? And actually that's no way to do it at all. What you need to do is just eat a little bit healthier and do a little bit of exercise each day. And so if you imagine, one of the daily disciplines you might have of when trying to lose weight is every afternoon if you feel a bit peckish, rather than eating a chocolate bar, you could eat an apple. Now, if you do that tomorrow, then the next day you might not have lost a lot of weight if you eat the apple, and if you ate the chocolate bar, you might not have put on any weight. Hardly made any difference. So you might think, oh well, that's not bleeding good. I might as well eat the chocolate bar. But if you keep doing that over a period of time, as you can kind of see these two lines, the green line being good, if you like, the bad line being bad, the more chocolate bars you eat, the kind of slowly, that weight will start to pick up. You'll start to get more lethargic. You'll do less exercise. Equally, if you eat the apple every day, you'll be a little bit healthier, feel a little bit fitter, feel a little bit more kind of full of energy. By the end of, who knows, 3 months, 6 months, a year, you could be a hugely healthier and fitter person just because of those small disciplines that you took. And that's basically what these two books are about. And it's, losing weight is one example, but exactly the same is true of building your business. You can make decisions about, shall I put those extra 20 catalogues out today or not? Shall I make a couple of extra calls to people who have replied to my adverts or not? They're easy to do. It doesn't take any time at all to make a couple of phone calls or put 10, 20 catalogues out, but they're also easy not to do. And so if you make those wrong decisions every day, that can have a big impact. So either of those books is great. I certainly recommend them. What else have we got here? Okay, Dale Carnegie wrote this book. It's a well-known book with a kind of slightly funny title. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was written back in, I think, about the 1930s, and it's kind of based around Dale Carnegie having lots of meetings with kind of, great big owners of large steel corporations, that sort of thing. If you imagine back in the boom period of American industry. And the gist of the book is basically, be nice to people. It's amazing what you get in return. If you're a salesman, and we're not salesmen, but if you were and you're kind of going in to see businessmen and try and selling them things, Dale sort of proved that if you show a bit of an interest in the person that you're talking to, and you find out a bit about them, and you show an interest in them, rather than just going in saying, here's our widget, it's fantastic, it's dead cheap, buy loads of them, you'll find you kind of get lots of sales, not by trying to sell to them, but just by showing an interest in them. And so there's all sorts of really useful hints and tips there just about, and these are things, all the little hints and tips and things are things that you can use every day when you're delivering catalogues or orders to people, or talking to people who might be interested in joining your business. And actually, outside of all of that, in your whole life, you'll kind of find that you get on better with people, you make friends with people, your relationships with loved ones are better, all because of tiny little things that you can pick up from this. So I really, really like that book. That's definitely a good one. One of the things I liked about this book was I found it in a car boot sale for 10p. So it was certainly the best the best 10p investment I've ever made. Okay, here's another one. Chap called Darren Hardy, who wrote The Compound Effect on the previous page. Darren came and spoke at one of our conferences a couple of years ago in Birmingham. And he wrote this book called Design Your Best Year Ever. And it's basically about goal setting. If you can imagine getting to the start of a year, and it doesn't have to be January, it can be any 12-month period, starting at a year and saying to yourself, what do we want to achieve in our next 12 months? And that could be, I want to qualify for the next Kleeneze International Conference in Jamaica's coming up soon, but maybe the one after that is, who knows, Las Vegas, and it's somewhere you've always wanted to be, always wanted to go. Or it could be, you really want to lose weight, you'd like to get down to, the weight you were when you got married, or who knows what it was. Whatever would be your best year. And it's more like a workbook. It's not a book that you can just read and then kind of learn lots of stuff. It's a workbook, and what it helps you to do is to sort of start off from where you are now, decide what you want to achieve in this fantastic 12 months, and then break those down into chunks. So, it might be monthly milestones, if you like, and then weekly chunks, and then daily steps. And it's just a great way to track doing, the idea of maybe losing 4 stones in weight might seem, really, really difficult. Maybe you've tried lots of different ways of doing it. But actually, if you break that down to the point where actually all you need to do is maybe eat an apple every day instead of a milkshake or whatever, then actually it suddenly becomes a lot easier, because these daily steps are a lot easier to do. And you monitor weekly how are things going. At the end of a month, am I on target for what I'm doing? I might need to adjust it. But it's just a great kind of workbook for doing that. So if you like goal setting, and you're kind of I would say if you're a sort of structured person, this is a book that would appeal to you, I think. Okay, quick question, everybody. Were you all listening? One of the quotes I said earlier was, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Yep, Martin. Amanda and Andrew, I can see what you were going for then. Yep, job. That's it. That's right. Good. I'm glad to see some of you are awake. What's next? Okay. Of those books, quick question then. Those of you that might have read or have looked at or listened to some of those, do you have your own favourite? If not, were there any of those that kind of appealed to you? Something you might go for? Oh yeah, the Jan Rua one. Yeah, Martin, funnily enough, I thought that might appeal to you. Good, good. Well, I would say have a little look at. I mean, certainly those first 2 that I mentioned right at the beginning, the 45-year plan and the Jim Rohn CD. If you're not sure about any of those, if you're not sure about any of the other ones, go for one of those, because I think it'll make a big difference. And it's kind of quite an easy way, a gentle way to get into this whole area of personal development. Oh, Jordan, that's 7 Strategies. That's a great book. I've got that kind of on my bedside table. Yeah, Garth, that's very true. If you've never kind of heard or listened to any Jim Rohn, and you want to just get an idea, just go into YouTube, do a search on Jim Rohn, that's R-O-H-N, and you'll find loads of stuff there. And a lot of it is, unfortunately, he died about 3 or 4 years ago, and a lot of his best work was kind of around late 1900s, early 2000s. So there's a couple of videos of him, and I actually quite like the videos because you can actually kind of see him and the way he talks and the looks and the kind of twinkle in his eye, that sort of thing. But some of it is just kind of like the audio with some pictures and things, and they're all fine as well. Okay, so just kind of wrapping up there, what did we cover this evening? So I talked about just follow the system, find your sponsor, Watch these webinars. If your sponsor is somebody who's maybe quite new themselves and they're not 100% sure of exactly what you mean, then just go through these webinars. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. If you've got some ideas of how you might be able to do things better, discuss that with your sponsor. That's absolutely fine, but don't kind of think that you have to start from scratch. And a few bits of essential understanding there. The Kleeneze pay plan I talked about, and just the concept of network marketing. I think it can make a whole difference if you kind of understand the bigger picture of what you can achieve. And I would say get started on your personal development. Get one or two of those books or a CD and just listen to it. You'll be amazed at the benefit you'll get from it. So just wrapping up then, that was number 6, grow yourself to grow your business. The next one is number 7, where I'm talking a bit more about goals and goal setting and achieving goals and the importance and the value of them, and a bit about attitude, which is very, very important in our business, and hopefully that will help you with that. And I certainly talk about those philosophies that I talked about as well in the next one. Now, I just need to let you know in advance, the next 2 Wednesdays I'm actually away, and I'm not quite sure exactly what time I'm going to get back. I need to sort of plan a few things out. So at the moment I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be on next Wednesday or on the one after. I'm hoping to run them, because as long as I'm back in time I will do. But you have to bear with me and look out for the emails or the messages about that. And I did mention briefly at the beginning that they're all recorded. So if you want to look at any of the recordings of those, the last 8, the one that we're doing now, I'll put up onto the recordings tomorrow morning probably. So I'm just going to stop the recording now,